All right, everybody, welcome on back. Continuing along, of course, our Tuesday afternoon here, Post-Traders Talk edition, as always. Of course, as always, on a Tuesday. Great to see everybody live right here in the Cyber Group Trading Room, streaming across social media, Facebook Live and YouTube. Welcome on back for our afternoon meeting. Let's get a quick sound check just to begin. Make sure everyone can hear me loud and clear. A little pop and drop so far in KODK. We ended up doing pretty well in this trade going into the afternoon. We'll cover this, of course, coming up in a moment. Great to see everybody, though. Mark, I got the marks there in the trading room. Yeah, Dennis, Guy, Jose, Jerry, Anthony, Jason, Kathy, John, Jeff, Stefan. Great to see you all. All right, and all of us joining of course, like I'd said, streaming across social media, guys. So without further ado, let's hop into it. We ended up seeing KODK pop early on this morning. I'll copy and paste the news right off the bat here for you guys. So Fausto covered this earlier during the morning meeting, during the morning commentary, but KODK ended up receiving a $765 million U.S. loan under the Defense Production Act to manufacture drugs to treat a variety of conditions. I guess very broad drug, but ended up seeing a huge run up off the news early in the morning. With that said, for a stock like KODK, for a stock like Fran, which I'll get to next, that's up 50, 100, 150, 200% like these guys were this morning. When the market opens up, the stock's going to pull back. Now, the lines I have up here, that's not reflective of pre-market trading. It would look like it popped right out of the gate and ran. Didn't exactly do that. We covered this trade right before, just a bit earlier inside our Traders Talk workshop. We ended up seeing this pop right out of the gate, but it ended up pulling back sharply from there. So, you don't want to get caught catching the falling knife. For a stock that's up this much, you often see this pull back before potential extension afterwards. So, we ended up seeing this re-break above resistance right off the 10 level. We covered that earlier in our Traders Talk workshop, like I'd said. Moved up at the time, almost 2 points higher, but what goes up does come back down. So, this type of dump off, we tend to see quite frequently. The KODK fell all the way back down towards the ultimate low of the day there, off 6. Bounced pretty sharply, as you could see. And, going into the afternoon, just for reference, the stocks had some tough time trying to break higher, at least here. We had some huge prints on the tape, like 400,000 share transactions on the time and sales. Just a bit earlier at 890 and at 875. This was just within the last 30, 45 minutes. So I put the lines up just as this was moving up. But we ended up taking the trade off a breakout. I ended up taking like a 4 or 5 cent loss, and then I ended up resetting up a new order for a potential pop over 825. So, that was the real breakout level that we were commenting on heading into this afternoon. Right over here, I jumped in, I took my loss. No, right over here, I'm sorry. Over here, it actually ran up a little bit. I could have had some profit. I held on too long and I ended up getting stopped out. And once it re-broke above that same line, though, I set up a new order right away afterwards. That's how I'm able to catch the pop, the further move up here. So, KODK ended up moving up ultimately towards 9, a little bit over that price. But we ended up seeing these huge prints in the process just getting filled going into the afternoon. So I put the lines up, and if it's not breaking higher at this point right now, there's really only one other way the stock's going to go. So, I feel like this afternoon little move off 825, it was nice. It was a nice run. I left some money on the table, and for what it's worth right now, it's just dropping off pretty sharply still. So I'm not ready to put this one back on our main list. I feel like that was a nice little squeeze, but I still feel like there could be more room on the way down for this trade. All right, so KODK was really the star of the pre-market, and we did well just before. But, Fran, same thing, right? Another pre-market runner that we caught off of news heading into the market open. Tanked as soon as the market opened up, though. It looks like it ended up setting up for some, little squeeze up there. I didn't take it at the time. The second this dumped off, I just kind of threw it away. So, I guess there could have been some room off support off of 750, popped up to 9, but, the volume totally died off afterwards. Actually, I should say it picked up, but that's after we ended up seeing, or that's as we ended up seeing this just tank. So once we ended up seeing just the support get broken, from that point, the volume died off, and this thing just kept dropping off from there. So, unfortunately, a pump and dump. But we know at this point to get out if the volume begins to fade off, if the stock begins to fail, breaking higher, if it begins to break lower, much like we just saw in Kodak. All right, guys. So KODK, Fran, those were the two big winners from the pre-market. I gotta say, we did pretty well on the Bitcoin stocks once again, the blockchain stocks, I should rather say. You should see my chart all lined up here for Riot. So, I kind of covered this just earlier for all of us live inside the Cyber Group room, just with our Traders Talk workshop. This ended up bouncing pretty nicely. It took a while to get the gears going on this trade, but Riot RIOT and its sister stock Mara ended up pulling back at the market open, held off support around that 270. And Mara, same thing. This one was a sharper run going into the morning. So, I was personally more focused on the Riot trade for the same reason. I thought that Riot was going to be the more volatile of the two. Well, they both moved up to a degree the same way, but Mara ended up popping earlier. So, if you ended up jumping in on Mara, that was the better run, I think. Riot ultimately ended up moving up towards that high of the day, 320, failed to break higher. And with that, well, we covered this in Traders Talk too. I was saying to you guys at the very end, 310 was a pretty important level heading into the afternoon. We had a lot of volume filled off 310 as resistance earlier, and then it failed to break out much higher. So, if this ends up crashing under 310, that's where I'd say if you were in this trade at the time, you set a really tight stop because, again, just like I said before, if it's not breaking higher, you don't want to get caught holding a bag here. So, there's no need to hold on to this as it's shaking down to 3, as it's shaking much lower down to 275. I'm sure Bitcoin was dropping off at the time. We covered this earlier. Riot and Mara tend to move to a degree with Bitcoin when it's moving a bit sharper. So, for right now, and as we've seen, actually, we just covered this, this time yesterday. I was saying to you guys with Riot yesterday, and I was proved right. This is not really an afternoon trade. It's a morning trade. Maybe get a little run up going into the late morning here yesterday. It was the early afternoon where it popped, but obviously failed to break. So, it ended up dumping off. Here, it's not worth it. I'm not although 280 here is a really big level, and we did cover that from Traders Talk, so you guys should know why. It's based on the volume. But yeah, 270, 280, really strong support. It's holding a higher low technically here. But for right now, I'm not going to put this back on our list. The Riot, the Mara, I love these stocks, but for right now, unless the Bitcoin moves, then I'm not going to look to trade these. All right. What else? You know what? How about this? We'll go from top to bottom as usual at this point. If there's anything else that we ended up trading or calling out, that did a pretty nice run, we'll look to comment on it pretty quickly. Those were the ones that we really mainly focused on so far. Ooh, this SYPR, number 2 on the gainer side here, up 132%. This is my first turn looking at this right now. So yeah, obviously ended up making a nice pop from essentially like 130. The high of the day at first was like 145, but really once you could see it broke above 130, ended up accelerating pretty nicely. So already made like a 40-cent move, 45-cent move from that resistance. I think a pullback's due, but yeah, this thing's still holding pretty strong near the high. So it seems like more of like a level 2 trade in terms of volatility. It's like not too volatile, just tight spread, pretty liquid order book, trading 39 million shares total across the day. That's a lot. Stock trades prior to today, the stock was trading 56,000 shares on average. So, my guess, the float is very low for this trade. Otherwise, just the stock trades incredibly low volume per day. For as much as this moved up, don't get caught holding this overnight. And if I'm wrong on that, guys, then I apologize if it gaps up higher tomorrow. But, as much as this moved up, I still feel like there could be more room going into the close today. But this definitely would be the type of stock that I feel would make the percent losers list. If not, by this afternoon, by the after hours, then perhaps by tomorrow morning early. All right. So, yeah, for right now, SYPR definitely going to put on our list. Hopefully this ends up running into the close, but I wouldn't expect for it to run that much higher going into tomorrow or the rest of the week. All right. Oh, it's funny. I just saw the comment from YouTube right there. One of our members just wrote, "What are your thoughts on SYPR?" So I just saw that right now. Good timing. So there we go. XELA, I'd say the same thing, but this thing's been trading a hell of a lot more volume recently compared to that last one. So I don't know what the float is on this. Might be a lot higher. Ended up making a big move already from 50 essentially up towards 75. Still holding near the highs. I do like that. It's a cheapie. But yeah, for this, for right now, XELA, we'll put on our list. Looks like over the last year and a half, took a big nosedive from 450 at least. I don't know if this is the type of stock that's been reverse split like over and over, but ooh. I don't know what the hell happened here, but maybe it came off an IPO back in mid-2017 and took a dive from there. I'm unsure. there's just some further activity here. That could have been when it was like an OTC stock. I'm just shooting from the hip with that. But yeah, for right now, XCLA, I'll definitely put on our list, still holding strong near the highs. I wouldn't expect to pick up 30, 50 cents on this trade. Know your worth, trade more shares, maybe pick up 3, 4 cents a share going into the close. All right. What's this? VCRA. Interesting. Ended up making a huge gap up, popped at the open, volume died off like instantly after. But going into the afternoon, nice little run up from 30 or 31 up to 33.50. Yeah, the spread's going to be a little wacky on this. That's for certain. Right now, it's only about 4 cents, but it'll open up really quick, if not like immediately here. But yeah, for right now, I don't mind putting this on our main list again for the same reasons. It's holding strong near the highs, so hopefully the order book fills in more. Hopefully this ends up running into the close, or otherwise, if this ends up crapping out the other way, at least this one, unlike the XELA, is shortable. All right. Fran, we covered already to a degree, dumped off early on. We're not going to focus on that at this point. All right, let's see what else we can get, guys. We'll skim from top to bottom now at this point. The CLSK, I want to stop too quick, up 20%. We called this out going into the afternoon, so I'll take some time to go over this. We've been following this trade on and off over the last month and a half, I feel like. I mean, even back from May, big pop. I don't know if news came out back then. But yeah, it's been squeezing up very nicely across the last 2 weeks, and today obviously took off further. So we ended up seeing this going into the afternoon, though, make a break. This is volume likely off the pop from 6. That was at 141, 142. I can't go back that far. Damn. All right. Let me see if I can just go back in the time and sales. What you want to do is try and find where the smart money's been filled. I don't have Bookmap open for this trade, so I can't take the time to go, through there. This is actually quicker for me. So you could see, I mean, a ton of, green, some yellow here, all here at 6 on the time and sales. No smart money print filled above that price. It peaked all the way up to 620. You had some fills at 615 in red. More at 615. Maybe 615 is a strong level heading into the close. It's kind of been holding 610 as a level on the chart. 6 you would assume to be a big level anyway, but with the volume that was filled from 6, you could see it's pretty much been holding under 6, if anything. A little pop and drop from here. But yeah, see if this can make a run over 6 higher into the afternoon. So for right now, CLSK definitely still pretty interesting. Here's one from yesterday, MFH. I said to you guys yesterday on this trade, if it wasn't yesterday, then it could be today. On this MFH, there is another one too. I forgot that one. It didn't pop up on my radar, at least today. But yeah, MFH, we called this out. It was off the halt, so we were late to the party on this low volume run up. I mean, with there being so much to trade, you can't catch them all. But, I did say yesterday, just based on the afternoon run, don't be surprised if it was a dud yesterday, then for it to make a move today. Oh, Jose is pointing out here in the chat board. Thank you very much, Jose. VTVT, that was the other one. I'll get to that here at least. I haven't checked in on that today. But yeah, you could see ended up off the halt, seeing this gap up a little bit higher. From there, though, unfortunately failed to crack 5 and dump back down. All right, checking on VTVT quick just for the meanwhile. Yeah, it's not doing anything, unfortunately. Spiked at the open or shortly after the morning, actually at 11 o'clock. So maybe that's a sign of things to come, Jose. I'm not going to put all my eggs in that basket. So, maybe if this is on our radar on the gainers list come tomorrow morning, we'll definitely follow it. All right, let's see what else we have on the gainer side, though, here, guys. I'm getting a question about afternoon earnings. I'll get to that just inside our trading room at the end of the day. I'll tell you, the whole rest of the week, like I was saying yesterday, it's like the Super Bowl week of earnings. They got everything. Not really everything, but a whole list. I mean, most of the name brand stocks, like AMD today, Starbucks, eBay today, even not so name brand, Fausto's BE trade from last week. They're actually reporting earnings after the close today. I just skipped over Sun W. Nah, that one not really looking that great. Bonnie, like I said, I'll talk to you in the trading room about that. OCGN here, not doing too much. All right. Let's see if there's anything just down here below. Otherwise, we'll hop over to the losers list. Ooh, ACB, and that's right. That'll take me to Tilray. So I should get to Tilray, TLRY. Tilray, ooh, ended up taking a nosedive below my 820 line. It just broke below 820 here. It's trying to get back over it for right now, but I was very high on this trade. No pun intended. This is a pot stock, I was going to say. Caught myself in that pun. But pun intended to a degree. I mean, the pot stocks are moving up pretty nicely into the close, right? CGC, Tilray, I've been very bullish on this afternoon. I've been in from 8. What was that last one? ACB, Aurora Cannabis, holding strong near the highs. So I'm going to group all the pot stocks together. Happy I ended up landing on ACB there. All right, cool. So what we'll do, guys, is just hop over to the losers list. There's Tilray up 11% on the gainer side. All right. MNOV, what makes the gainers list one day, just like I was saying before, makes the losers list the next. You don't want to get caught stuck holding on to a trade like that VCRA or the SYPR, perhaps. Should get the price here. And the same with WHLM, a lot of these that were on the gainers list earlier this week and last week. This is VBIV, a familiar name. We've seen this run up very nicely across the last month. Dumped back down off its highs last week, and it's still a shortable, but right now it's not doing too much. Still a good stock to keep on the side list, definitely. Yeah, GNCA, same thing. All right. Just kind of did a quick run through on the loser side. Not a whole lot out there. There we go. I was going to say, so an old running joke inside the Cybergroup room, at least. And if you've been just streaming across long enough, you'd know when I say those magic words, hey, there's not really that much on the losers list, usually isn't. Honestly, the second I say that, I curse myself. I jinx myself because I'll always land on something that looks good right away after. And this SGMO looks pretty good. It's at the lows of the day. It's still trading decent volume. I mean, it definitely dropped off after the big move down at first. It's only trading about 5,500 shares per minute, but it's tradable. It's moving down pretty nicely across the day, and you would assume a major support would be off of 10. So yeah, for right now, SGMO at the buzzer, we'll put on our list. All right, we have from Tom here in the chat board saying GTBIF also is a cannabis stock. So that's going to be an OTC stock, Tom. We don't really look to trade the OTCs as much. But I'll tell you, though, I mean, that's how we ended up finding ACB, Aurora Cannabis, because I believe ACB was also an OTC stock, and then they ended up being listed on the NYSE, if I'm not mistaken, last year. All right. What's an OTC stock? What does it mean? Over-the-counter mark. So you could subscribe to that data from TradeStation, but we don't look to do that though here. So, and I don't have it on my screen at least. So, if it's moving with the rest of them, Tom, and if you're familiar with the trade, hey, stick with it. All right, SBPH from YouTube. SBPH. Oh, I guess I got that wrong at first. Sorry. Squeezed up. Nice. Up 23+%. I don't know if I skipped over this or maybe it just popped like right after I turned away from it. But yeah, not really trading a whole lot of volume across the day. But given the recent run up, we're seeing a lot of it being filled and traded over the last 30 or so minutes. So I do like this right now. I'll put this on our watch list. Doesn't mean that we're going to jump into it right away, but definitely worthwhile. So we'll look to see if this could begin to pull back either towards support at 210 and then begin to push up, or if it begins to pop further. It seems like we have some volume on the ask at 239 and at 250. Oof, another good call from Scott. This one trading a lot more volume, so I'll be honest, I like this one more, but we're going to put both on our list. Yeah, HMHC, and most importantly, this stock is shortable, so if it craps out the other way, but you guys know, of course, we're going to be following this trend here at first. So very good call, Scott, on this HMHC. I assume there's news out on this trade. I'll take a quick look on Benzinga right now before we close it out. Yep, right here. All right, I'll copy and paste. All right, so Houghton Mifflin, which actually I'm kind of familiar with. Just I remember back from college. Shares spike to session high as traders circulate unconfirmed chatter. That's a nice keyword, unconfirmed. It's a rumor. From a chat company's online education service will be used following report City of Columbus, Ohio school in fall will be all online. Buy the rumor, sell the news, not just in terms of a buyout, but yeah, I mean, that's the news on this HMHC. So great call, Scott. Yeah, definitely. We're going to put this right on the top of our list. And then from Chuck, last one here, guys. If there's anything else, of course, just let me know. But that's all I see here from the chat. Chuck was calling out the IBIO. Yeah, this was a great call, Chuck. So, it's up 8%, 8.5+ percent. Still holding strong right near the highs. So I appreciate the reminder on this trade. So we'll definitely put this on our list still. Guess I'll check in on the rest of the other Corona stocks, but those haven't been holding up nearly as well. VXRT, we did pretty well on yesterday afternoon. We did pretty well on this trade this morning, and still pretty tradable. But for right now, I like that IBIO just in terms of just being right near its highs. INO trades pretty flat. Co-diagnostic, pretty flat. APT, not flat, but trending down. And then OPK. This stock is shortable. This actually is a good setup, if I'm not mistaken. So, looking at this right off 560, it won't get you too much cents per share wise, but, it's cheap. You can load up on it. It's a nice level 1 setup. I don't mind putting this on our main list just to cap it off. So in total, 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 different symbols. And then on top of that, the pot stocks all together, guys. So I'll look to post those all inside the trading room here in a moment. All right, guys, so for all of us streaming across YouTube and Facebook Live, just make sure if you guys are interested in learning more about CTU, first and foremost, at least, aside from what the banner says below, make sure that you guys press like and subscribe. Make sure that you guys are notified as far as when we're going to be streaming live, when we're not. And then aside from that, make sure that you guys call the phone number down below at least and just get in touch with one of our education advisors. For all of us here live inside the trading room, we've had a hell of a day today, a really nice morning, a very good afternoon so far, a pretty surprising afternoon. So we'll try and keep the momentum going, no pun intended, into the afternoon, guys. Take care.